So, today we have a special guest. She's a trans woman. She works in medicine and she has experience of more than 25 years. Hello, Leah. I'm happy to see you. Can you tell more about your path, about your journey, about your transitioning?
Good morning. I'm Leah. I'm a trans woman from Sweden. I come from Russia originally, and my journey is immigration and transitioning, MTF transitioning. And I can proudly say that I'm the only trans woman who works in Sweden as a doctor, an open trans woman. I will be very glad if someone proves me wrong, but we'll see. Right now, there's an article about me in Läkartidningen. It's a professional magazine for the doctors, and they didn't know about anyone else who was working as a doctor in Sweden. I will be very glad if there will be more trans people in this role because it's very important for our very conservative branch. It's a very conservative because our patients they expect adequate people on the doctor's role. They are expecting professionalism. They are expecting everything that is good for their health, like this. So I will be very glad if we will see any trans people in the role of the doctors, in the role of those who are making decisions.
But you said that you're openly trans, so you're not stealth.
No, I'm not still. I came out as a trans woman in November 22. Uh, it was a hard period for me in the beginning, but I made a lot before coming out because I was like not a fat but a big guy. I was nearly bald, so I had to go. I had to lose weight about 20 kilograms. I made a hair transplantation. I learned makeup. I learned style, and I came out like a beautiful woman. It was the purpose of my journey, and I made like a seamless transitioning because in the end when I was in the end of presenting mail my colleagues suspected that something is happening because I looked like a very feminine man at that time. And so my last pictures before coming out, I look like more than a girl in men's clothes. So it was just to put on a dress. It was not very complicated at that point, but I've made a very big job before I came out.
Tell more about this path. I know that you started social transitioning before the medical.
Yes, because the waiting times in the Swedish transcare system, they are extremely long. I was waiting in more than 2 years to the first appointment in Stockholm at the Gander care clinic. At that time, it was possible to write your own referral. Now, it must be written by your general practitioner. In the GP office, and it takes time. And now the waiting times are even longer because of the very many gender questioning queer who are waiting in these queues. Not only people who have gender dysphoria, but there is very many people who are waiting, and the criteria that the Swedish medicine uses are classical criteria that are based on the gender dysphoria. So it's a very long process. In my case, it took about a year with all appointments at the psychiatrists, with the psychologists. They didn't have any questions at all. They all said that we know that we are just staying in your way, actually, but we need it to get a right decision that is that you have really have gender dysphoria. Between my first appointment and the estrogen prescription, it took about 3 years. I came out in November 22, and I've got my prescription December 23. So it's like about a year on the estrogen. Not very much, but I came out like more than 2 years ago, and it was a wonderful experience, even without estrogen. I suspected actually that it would have been a long process. So it was very important to me to look more or less beautiful even without hormone replacement therapy. And that was like my point to lose weight, to do the hair transplantation, and to look good even without hormones, because social transitioning is very important, and the hormones don't affect your voice. They don't affect your mimics, mannerism, or something. The hormones only don't make everything in the transitioning process. There's very much in your social behavior that is going to help. So the hormones were they make a lot for your head. They make a lot for the inner feeling. But the outer part, it can be made a lot without hormone replacement.
You've said this journey took you almost 3 years. Was it because of some sort of a gatekeeping from Swedish government, or it's just because of a few specialists are working in this field?
That I'm a specialist, it didn't help me, actually. I can't say that anything in this system is made on purpose. The point is that the gender care, it's not a high priority in the state healthcare system. And it's the only reason for the very, very slow process. Most of the doctors don't actually work there. They come there, like they work there on 30%, and they are actually workers in some other departments of the hospitals. So the gender care is has a very, very low priority. And right now, the Swedish government is trying to save money on healthcare. And you know where the money goes, actually. So the gender care that was not prioritized from the beginning right now gets even less prioritizing. And that's the reason why the queues are so long. I can't say that it's made on purpose.
What about the ICD in Sweden? Which version does Sweden use? ICD 10 or 11?
It's ICD 11, where the gender dysphoria is not a diagnosis anymore.
And I'm curious about your opinion as a doctor. What about informed consent system? Do you agree with it?
Do you mean that you just need to wish to be a trans to be trans. Uh, I think that the whole system with informed consent is a way to nowhere because you must have gender dysphoria to be trans. Uh, it's a cornerstone of the whole thing. Uh, you don't need to be gender questioning. Like I understand that you can be gender questioning or something like that in your denial phase, because my denial phase was very, very long. It took many years for me to understand that the thing that I was struggling with is gender dysphoria. But if you don't have it, you don't need anything from the gender care system because you are not suffering from the gender dysphoria. You like hormone, estrogen, testosterone. It's not a toy to play with. It's a medicine that is made to cure the people who really need it. That's my point. Gender dysphoria is a medical condition, and gender is not a social construct. It's a biological construct that is made both on the medical, congenital factor and the social factor, and they work together. They don't work separate.
I fully agree with you. The only exception where I will disagree that I used this informed consent system. I was pretty lucky. But before I signed all the documents and I took all responsibility about taking HRT, I got through a psychiatrist, even two psychiatrists.
Mhm.
And I have both diagnoses according to ICD-10, transsexualism. I'm a transsexual woman. And
Mhm.
also according to ICD-11, I have gender dysphoria. But they were diagnosed by two specialists. And only after that, I was able to go through informed consent system.
The only purpose of the system is that you must have gender dysphoria uh, to be trans, to get the possibility to go through the gender correction procedures from the medical part of the transitioning. Uh, how it's done, it doesn't matter actually, but usually it's made by the psychiatrists because gender dysphoria can be a symptom of some psychiatric diagnosis of schizophrenia, for example. You can also have some kind of psychological things, and it's very important to be sure that gender dysphoria is primary, so it's not a symptom of something else. The doctor's part is very important in it.
Yeah, and also you've mentioned that you questioned and you went through this denial stage of being trans. Can you tell us more about this experience? How have you explored yourself?
It was like that. I was questioning. I was feeling that I'm not a regular person from my early age, as it used to be for the most of trans people. Uh, like I tried my mother's dresses when I was like 9, 10. It's a classical sign of gender dysphoria because it's a congenital thing and it shows itself before the puberty. Uh, so it began very early. Uh, and I felt that something is wrong with me. So there was a lot of shame. There was a lot of trying to let it go, to forget it, to be like normal. And it didn't go. because during my whole life as a man, I tried to get out of this thing with dresses, with thinking of myself as a girl, of trying to imagine myself like a girl with a man. Uh, it was shameful. It felt like that because I had no one around me uh, to talk about it. So it was a secret during the whole way. And I knew that I would never find anyone in Russia, in like around me, around my friends, in my family or something. And for God's sake, not between my colleagues. So it was a top secret for all of them because if anyone knew about it, it could end all my career as a doctor. Because in Russia, gender dysphoria is still a diagnosis. You can't work as a doctor because it's a psychiatric diagnosis, and you can't even drive a car. So it was a top secret during the whole way. Uh, Besides, like I understood that I'm probably trans person at the university at the first course at the lectures in biology. Actually, when they told about this thing that we are girls from the beginning, and then the body and the brain develops in a masculine way because of the testosterone. And on every stage, this development from female to male can stop or pause because of the lack of testosterone production. So our body develops first from female to male, and then the brain, the gender identity, and then the sexual behavior also forms in a masculine way as long as the testosterone production in the fetus continues. Um, so it's like a continuum, and it can stop at some stage, so a person can be a man like in the body, and a woman in the gender identity. And it's the same mechanism that leads to, for example, why do gay people exist? It's the same thing actually. So it's they have the male gender in the identity, but woman's sexual behavior. So it nothing wrong with it. It's just it happens also in the wild nature, and it has been showed by the experiments that the guinea pigs who were given testosterone during the pregnancy, the comes even that were females, they presented the male behavior. So we've got theoretical explanation of that. So I got this pain in my head at once that, oh, I understand that I'm a trans person. I was about 18, and at that time I didn't accept it from the beginning because it was impossible for me to live in that role at that time because in the 90s in Russia you could do everything but be a queer person. No economy, and I had to study I had to study and work in the evenings, and during all this stadium of denial, I worked a lot, really a lot. It's very easy to forget everything if you work 14 hours a day. And even later, working as a heart surgeon, I didn't have any time to think about it. I just thought about it sometimes, wearing dresses when I was alone. But again, I was thinking that it's a kind of fetishism or something, and I was always ashamed of that. And I came to the point that I need to change something. It was like about 12 years ago in 2013, somewhere, when I understood that I just can't bear it anymore.
And what about coming out to your closest people, to your family, to your friends? Have you had any attempts of coming out when you were still in Russia?
No, no, never. I was afraid. I knew that it would have been a dead risk for me. So I chose to move to Sweden because this country is known for an good atmosphere for trans people, queer people, and everything. I fell in love with Sweden from the first sight, and it was about nearly 20 years ago. When I was there for the first time, when I visited my friends, I fell in love with Sweden, and I thought that maybe one day I will live there, working as a doctor. It felt like something impossible at that time, because I was working a lot as a heart surgeon and I didn't have any free time at all. Later, when I was a chief in the clinic, I had a bit more free time, and I began the process of the professional immigration to Sweden. Uh, because it's not only the attitude to the trans and queer people in Sweden, but the atmosphere for doctors, uh, the salary, the work time balance for doctors in Sweden is much better than in Russia. So I had actually several purposes for my moving to Sweden. So I thought that I would maybe begin to work as a doctor, and then, if possible, make my decision about coming out and transitioning. And it became so. Um, but never, 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 never I told to anyone being in Russia that I'm a trans person. It would have been a deadly risk for me.
Because of the social pressure.
Uh, I could lose my job at the moment directly, same day. So no,
But you've said you've experienced shame and some sort of a guilt. Was it ingrained by society or by family?
I just saw that no one does like this. So I was feeling it outmindedly somewhere. So I felt deep inside that it was risky. I'm not a risky person. I like to plan everything and to make. And transitioning is also a project. You must just plan and then follow that you're planning, nothing else.
Yeah, let's talk more about your experience of living in Russia as a member of LGBT community. And do you keep in touch with local people?
I never had any contact with the LGBT community in Russia because it was top secret, as said. I thought that it was dangerous for me even at that times, to come out or to tell anyone that I was trans. And the time shows that I was right in my decision, because now it has become even worse with the situation in the LGBT community in Russia. Right now, open to be open as LGBT means that you're an terrorist, extremist, whatever, and it's a dead risk to be open in Russia. So right now, sitting in Sweden, I can feel that I'm more or less safe until I go back to Russia. I won't do that because I've got work and everything here. But there are some people that I have left in Russia. My brother, for example. And I came out for him like it was 2020, about 2 years before coming out in Sweden openly for everyone. He accepted me. Sadly, my mother didn't accept me, and we haven't talked at all during her last 6 months. She died in cancer in November last year. So it's a hard situation, and even within one family, it's possible to have both support and reject.
I'm so sorry to hear about your negative experience with your family. I have pretty similar one. My family doesn't accept me fully. We haven't got the contacts completely, but I know they will never accept me. Why do you think?
Sad but true.
Why do you think this hatred is developing in Russia?
Uh, I would like to say that people are generally neutral. The point is that the anti-LGBT propaganda that they hear every day, it's something that makes them kind of alert, because they do see LGBT people every day. We exist in the society. We are presented overall on all society levels, even in Russia, in Russian parliament. Everybody knows that, and everybody ignores that. Actually, like gay, bisexual, trans people, they just exist, and you can't do anything with it because it's a biological norm. You just can't do anything with it. The point is that you can do everything in Russia without being open. So it's a much better situation for example, gay and lesbian people, because they are invisible. They can be invisible. But for trans people, it's a much more hard situation. We're visible, clearly visible in the society, and even if there's not so many, the visibility of the trans community makes us very vulnerable.
No, trans woman, she lives in Russia. We had a brief chat with her. I also invited her to make an interview, and she said that unfortunately she can't do it because of the safety reasons. It's just unsafe to be visibly trans. And what about Sweden?
In Sweden, nobody cares, because you can wear what you want, you can do what you want. The people are generally interested in your personality. Yes, there are many who are maybe slightly negative, but nothing nothing aggressive. I've been open in my little town of 5,000 people in nearly 2 years, and I didn't have any problems at all. Partly because I'm a good doctor. I'm known in the whole town as a good doctor, and my patients said, "Okay, she's happy. It's good for us because she will concentrate on our problems instead for her own with dysphoria and things." And that was the thing. And I didn't feel any kind of aggression or something in Sweden at all. Uh, Maybe it's because I pass well as a woman, and nobody concentrates on me. I'm invisible in the society exactly as I want. I don't want to be visible. I just want to live my life.
Yes, we know political climate changed in Russia, especially after 2022 when the war started.
You know that if you are sitting there at the top, uh, you must concentrate the public's attention on something that is not the real problem. And the LGBT and the trans society is a wonderful, wonderful thing to move the focus of the society from the actual problems, from the war, economy, jobs, or something, uh, to this little group of people that can protect itself and is extremely visible. And it's done also by Trump in the USA and all the politics. The only thing that they are doing, they convert the hatred of their target group to their own political capital. Nothing more. Uh, Nothing more involved here. It's not about the money. They are telling that they are going to save lots of money on the trans healthcare programs. No, there's no questioning about money because nearly everywhere the trans care is not included in the state insurance. There are several countries like USA in the past and several European countries where you don't do it for your own money, and there are extremely long waiting times for it. So it's not a question of money, and there's not so many trans people that need it actually. So it's just a thing to move the focus.
Let's focus more on the financial part of transitioning. You said there are some countries that support financially trans people and gender affirming surgeries. What about Sweden?
In Sweden, first of all, you must wait in several years in the queue for the primary appointment at the psychiatrist. And the whole process takes about a year to get the decision that you have F64 gender dysphoria as a diagnosis. I hate to call it for diagnosis because I am not sick, but you need some time to get that diagnosis. So then the state insurance covers, in my case, hormone treatment, which is the most important. It covers upper surgery, lower surgery, also with extremely long waiting times, several years. I'm not even kidding. Uh, and also the juridical process, because after you have gone through all this thing with decision about gender dysphoria, you have a right to change your juridical status, gender in your passport. Sadly, I've got no Swedish passport yet, so it's not actual for me. So I'm waiting for a Swedish citizenship, and then it will be possible for me also.
Are there any requirements to change your gender marker on your passport?
Swedish citizenship and that form that you've got gender dysphoria from the state clinic. So the private clinics like Gender GP in Great Britain, it doesn't work. It must be a state clinic, and there are 6 clinics like this in Sweden, in the big university hospitals.
And what about surgeries? Are you supposed to have any to be recognized by government?
Both breast surgery and lower surgery, they are included in the state insurance. I don't know what is better because I don't want to get old waiting in the queue. So probably I will pay myself for it. And it's even better because I will have a wider choice of clinics and surgeons. Swedish healthcare has high quality and like world standards in everything. The worst thing in it is that you must wait in several years for your surgery. Sad but true. We'll see. I need to save money for it, and I haven't made any decision about it yet.
And since we're talking about surgeries, we met, I guess, almost a year ago. Back then, I was looking for my surgeon who will do FFS for me. And I found your account online. You were sharing it publicly, your experience. What other medical procedures have you had?
I've made 2 surgeries, face feminization surgery with Anne Slutsky about a year ago, and waist surgery in Kazakhstan. It was this autumn, last October. The face feminization, it was the most important surgery that I had in my life. Maybe if we don't tell about the hair transplantation that I also had about 4 years ago, because I was nearly bald, and I didn't want to come out as a woman wearing wigs. I wanted to look good from the beginning. And I'm a doctor. We are not allowed to use wigs at work. So it was also a thing, a job to do. But the face feminization surgery, it's maybe one of the most important and best decisions in my whole life, because it's not about what the others thinking about you. It's about seeing that girl in the mirror. It's very important for your head. It's very important to fight your dysphoria. Besides, there's very much which is talked about, the magic power of hormone replacement therapy that is going to change your appearance to the feminine. Yes, it will lead to a slight change. It depends very much on your bone structure, because the hormones will never affect your profile, because it's the bone structure. It depends on bone structure that will never going to be changed on the hormone replacement therapy. And if you want to pass as a woman, if you don't want to be clocked, you must think not about your front side, but also about the profile to look good from like all sides. And that was very important for me. because I'm a doctor and I need to pass as a woman in all the aspects of my life and professional life also. It was about a year ago, uh, and my surgery included the forehead, the nose, and the chin, like a classical surgery set that is used to be done in these cases. I had a very masculine profile, so it helped a lot, I think.
And what about the second surgery, the waist reduction? Can you share your experience?
Uh, the waist reduction it includes the surgical controlled fracture of the floating ribs. And then you must wear a corset in 3 months for they can be healed in a new, like hourglass position. I expected more, should I say? And I can say that it was disappointing. I've got a waist right now because I had a sporty, like rectangular masculine figure. I've got some waist right now. Maybe not very much, but it helped against my dysphoria also a bit. Maybe taking away the ribs could give more result, but it's a much bigger surgery that must be done in the narcosis. And that one was like 40 minutes under the local anesthesia. And it's like 3, 4 times cheaper. Also makes sense.
Recently, I received a comment under one of my posts that I have a privilege of passing. Can you agree with it that passing is a privilege, but not a hard work?
Like there's nothing in my appearance that I didn't work on. The word privilege comes from lazy people because transitioning is a process. Transitioning is a project. You must plan. You must have a goal. You must set a timeline, and you must plan and do what you have planned. And I was a poor boy born in the Soviet Union. What privilege you're talking about? Like, so I've made everything myself. Nobody helped me. You've got everything to change your life like you want. I had a very, very hard situation. So I was like a slave at my job. But I like learned Swedish, working 12 to 14 hours a day. So just don't tell me that something I have made in my life is a privilege. I've got it myself by my own hard everyday work.
I admire your experience, your work, and your progress. And what about passing? Is it important for trans women?
For me, it was like a question of life and death. Because having a dysphoria, you just need to pass for yourself. We don't do it for the others. It's made for making our inner world comfortable, to make our appearance like passing, and to live a better life in our bodies that are sadly not so feminine from the beginning. It's I wouldn't call it passing. It's just working on your body, on your voice, on your mannerism, like to make it more acceptable for yourself. I make it for for me, like not for the others, because I'm a woman. I see other women, and I just do the same in a natural way, like a little girl that learns her voice, her intonations, her gestures. It's natural, nothing else.
Well, yeah, I guess you've noticed this wave in social media, especially from people who are early in their transition or gender fluid or still questioning, that you are not supposed to pass. Can you agree with it?
Like it's their choice to begin with. If you don't have gender dysphoria, you don't need to pass. Uh, Absolutely no problem with it. And for some people, to pass is can be very hard or maybe impossible because of their face anatomy, for example. And I can't say that there's a correct way to be trans. We are free in our choices. Um, but the point is that these people who are saying that you don't need to pass, uh, they also say to us who passes that we are not doing correctly. That's not right, because they've got their choices and we've got ours. Live your own life and don't tell to other people what they should do.
And I guess you've also noticed this aggression coming from them when we don't agree
Uh,
with their opinion.
there's too many of them because they are not actually trans people. As said, you must have gender dysphoria to be trans, and it's like about 1 person to 10,000 in the normal population. There's not so many of us. So gender fluid and gender questioning people are not really trans since they don't have gender dysphoria. They have all come into the community, and there's too much of them. So it's very hard to find an actual trans person right now who has dysphoria, uh, among these queer people. And you must just it's clear that a regular person doesn't see any difference between them and between us. And sadly, they are aggressive at those queer people and not at us who are actually trans. That's a problem because all the conservatives are getting angry and they are making all the problems that are not good for us, trans people, the first hand.
Do you see any solution for trans people? How should we navigate?
There's no solution. It's too late for gatekeeping, but the one thing that I think will happen, this reaction from conservatives, from Trump in the USA, from Putin in Russia, it will lead to that the amount of this clearly seen queer gender questioning people will decrease. And then the voice of actual trans people can be heard louder. We've got no choice. We've got no choice in this situation. We must fight for our rights because we've got no choice. We've got dysphoria, and we must do this transition. We must do all that we are supposed to be comfortable in our bodies.
I really like that you said we have no choice. What about the way of aggression, of forcing society to perceive us as someone who we are not?
This aggression is because of ignorance. Ignorance, fear, anxiety. And actually, it's caused by the anti LGBT propaganda and nothing more. When you ask someone of these aggressive people, have you seen a trans person one time in your life? Usually not. They're a strange situation that they are hating something that they have never seen in their lives.
Yes, I'm asking more about aggression in our own community.
I don't think that I'm a part of the trans community actually, because I'm a person who live my own life. I didn't get any help from the community to begin with, and like I have several trans girls that I know in Sweden, in Gothenburg and Stockholm. We're just friends. All that LGBT organizations or something, I didn't get any help of them, and I can't even imagine what kind of help I can get from them. So I can't say that I ever had any contact with them. I just don't need it.
I have an opposite experience. My local LGBT community, they helped me, especially with finding LGBT-friendly doctors.
Maybe it's because of the whole atmosphere in Sweden that it's like LGBT neutral, should I say, and sometimes positive. Anyway, the trans community can't help with waiting time to the surgery, to the trans care, and according to general healthcare, it's exactly like for everyone else. Like I don't know which kind of help I could get from them actually, and I didn't need any help of psychologist or something. Uh, and if I needed, I should have got it directly from my GP office. So, Sweden as a whole is a like neutral, friendly country. That's why I didn't need anything from the community.
Yeah, I've noticed that there is a big problem in our community of self-acceptance, of accepting people who they truly are. Can you find any reasons for that?
The problem of self-acceptance, it's very hard to hear your own voice because your thoughts are often affected by the bias from the outside. It can be the pressure from the society, or it can be just wrong information from, for example, the community. And very often we hear wrong information, non-medical information from those who are in the community, and these fairy tales they can affect a lot also.
Can you name any of them, of fairy tales?
Like about menstruations that trans women can have. It's impossible, and because their bodies are formed as male bodies and in the beginning, and the anatomy just doesn't allow the menstruation. It's impossible from the medical point of view. They just don't want to accept it. Okay, their illusions will end after the first appointment at the doctor. No problem with it. It's their problem, not mine.
For myself, I have one explanation. Why does it happen? Because of the internalized transphobia. They see a lot of negative sides of being trans. Do you agree with it?
I don't think that internalized transphobia even exists because it's a thing that is called to call everything that doesn't align with the major picture that exists right now in the community. I'm trans. Why should I it's not about me, this transphobia, and I love myself. My transitioning is a product of my love for myself. It's not any kind of transphobia or something. I love myself, and because of that, I'm transitioning. I don't know even what these people are talking about. If they are talking about internalized transphobia, my appearance, my voice, my hair are product of my self-love and nothing else.
At the same time, they expect society to believe in these fairy tales.
Yes, absolutely. But as said, this happens mainly online because offline, I don't think that you will meet this kind of discussion. It's not discussed offline between the like people in the streets, and in this way you just can ignore it because it doesn't exist in the real life.
I fully agree with you, and I'm really happy we're on the same page.
Mhm.
I never understood why it's hard to call things their proper names. For example, recently I posted a video about differences between trans women and crossdressers. I received a lot of negative comments. Most of them were concerned to my gatekeeping or dividing the community. I just used the proper terminology. Have you
Uh,
noticed something like this?
yes, because I was banned at several subreddits just for expressing my point of view. They call it democracy, okay, freedom of speech. Uh, the point is that cross dressers are people that don't have any gender dysphoria. Uh, and that's because of they are not trans. Uh, like I don't know what we can discuss in this situation because if they like to cross dress, absolutely no problem with it, but they are not trans people. Since they don't have gender dysphoria, they feel comfortable in their bodies, in their social roles, and cross dressing is like a game for them. So it's like not a question of life and death for them. For us, it's much more important, and that's the difference.
Can you tell me specifically about this importance? Why is it important for trans women?
Uh, Not only for trans women,
For all
but
trans
also
people, for all
for
trans
yes,
people,
yeah.
pardon, yeah.
But it's also about trans men, about non-binary people, and no non-binary people do exist, believe it or not. Uh, and because this transforming from female to male in the brain during the pregnancy in the fetus, it doesn't happen in a day, like female to male. It's a process it's the continuum, and this process can stop because of low testosterone, level in the fetus at some stage between the two genders. So, absolutely no problem with non-binary people. They exist, and there's a physiological explanation for that. The point is that transgender people, they have the gender identity that is not aligned with their bodies, and it leads to dysphoria because you are like a woman clothed in a male body or vice versa, and it leads to more or less dysphoric thoughts because it's impossible to change your body to like on the proper level with the desired form. We will never be glad with our bodies, and that's a really big problem. because I would love give a birth to a child, which is impossible in my case. I would love to be shorter because I am nearly 2 meters tall. To be more feminine, I can present as a woman. I can pretend to be a woman, but I will never be a real woman who is a woman from the beginning, who is born as a woman. And it's a continuous problem that will never disappear. I can live with it, better or worse. I can move to the possible decision, uh, but it will never be a constant working solution for us. So we will never be comfortable in our bodies since we've got the female identity, and our bodies, there are male bodies or vice versa for trans men. Nothing to do with it, just to try to get further in the process of transitioning. And you've got freedom. How do you do it? But you must transition. And as usual, every trans person, they understand it themselves and trying to do something with it.
As you said, there is a mismatch between our bodies and our brains.
Mm.
And we saw these attempts of conversion therapy, of changing the structures of our brain by medical procedures, by therapy, and obviously it didn't work. We can't change our
Uh,
brain. At the same time, we can change our body.
Exactly. Conversion therapy never worked, and it was transitioning is the only thing that has an evidence-based effect for reducing of gender dysphoria. Nothing else works. Nothing of that has scientifically shown effect, should I say. Only transitioning, nothing else.
I never understood these arguments when people disagreed that we're biological male, we have XY chromosomes, but they're trying to pretend that we're the same as biological women. More so, we're superior. I never agreed with it. And I never understood how we can dive into womanhood, how we can become women if we're opposing to them. If we're not becoming friends with women, if we're not protecting them.
Like we are women, and we are a part of the women's society. We all live in the society, and our gender civilization is exactly the same as for cis women. There's no actual difference. This problem disappears directly if you pass as a cis woman. There's no difference. You just disappear for the society, and you're not trans anymore. And this is the desired point for most of the trans people. We don't want to be visible. We don't need this third, like trans identity, to be created. We just want to merge with the two genders that exist from the beginning. We don't break the social norms. We don't want to be visible. We don't want to annoy the society.
Yeah, and since you've mentioned societal perception, has it somehow changed for you when you've transitioned?
For me, this social transitioning process was seamless because I was very feminine during my transitioning from the first decision. when I made it, when I was 43, it was in the beginning of the pandemic, the corona. And when I made all this process to my coming out to 2022, I became more thin. I became more feminine with like earrings and manicure. Like my colleagues suspected that something is happening, maybe he's gay or something. Okay, but as said, liksom, nobody cared about it since I was a good doctor and I am a good doctor. So the point is that you must be a professional. You must play a social role, and it's not a question of gender. Actually, you must be a good person. You must be a person who does something for those who are around you. You must be a kind person. And then you will be accepted as you are, as your personality. If you have long hair, short hair, if you have a beard, if you have a dress and you like nothing. It's not a problem. Since you're a good person, you'll be accepted no matter how are you presenting. It doesn't matter.
I love that. It's awesome. Leah, and let's talk about your closest person. I know you have a daughter. Can you tell
Mhm.
more about your relationship?
So my daughter is living with me. She's 13, nearly 14 years old. I was married when I lived in Russia because I guess it's part of my denial phase, my marriage, but I've got very, very big present from God. My daughter, it's probably most precious that I have in my life, the most important person. She has accepted me, and we are living our best lives here in Sweden. There was a long negotiation with her mother. It was before my coming out, of course. Uh, Actually, we are best friends right now with her mother also, and we met several times, all three, outside Sweden and Russia, because it's hard for a Russian person to get to Sweden if you don't have a visa. Right now, it's impossible. But we have a good relationship. We stayed friends with her mother, and my daughter is living with me. She learned Swedish during a half year, speaks Swedish better than I do. I thought a lot how I would come out for her. Yes, it took some time and effort, but it was a success. And I think that we've got a wonderful relationship, and I get lots of support from her every day.
Do you remember this moment of coming out to her?
It was not a moment, it was a long process because I didn't think that it could work. So I wanted to make it like soft and seamless, exactly as with my coming out to my colleagues. So at that time, I was presenting female only when she was at school. Uh, so I could do it maybe 1, 2 times a week when I came early from my job. But we began watching RuPaul's Drag Race in the evenings on Netflix, and it was interesting for her, and it was interesting for me also because there was little tips about makeup or something, and it's a cool show. You know what I'm talking about. And somewhere between the sixth and eighth season, when we knew everyone who is presenting there, we knew their names, we knew everything like about RuPaul, about drag, how it's done, and it was very exciting to look at it together. And I said to her, let's make our own drag show on Fridays night. And we made it. And she didn't like ask where I got all these dresses or shoes. They were all laying in my wardrobe in years. But it was cool. And then we made it the next weekend, on the next weekend, and after that, and after that. And when she was fully comfortable with seeing me presenting as female, I told her that I was actually trans. And it was not a problem for her at that point to accept that.
Was there any bullying in school?
There's no bullying. She had some problems, like with some boys just being naughty or something. No big problem at all. Since, as said, I'm a well-known person in town, and Swedish society is very calm. There was no bullying, no problem with it.
Yeah, and also I know you share some old hobbies with your daughter. The ones that usually are perceived as male ones. Can you tell me more about them?
My daughter doesn't support any kind of my hobbies. She has got her own. She's very good in drawing. I tried to learn like to teach her some music and playing the guitar. I can't say that I play guitar a lot myself. I can say that I lost my interest, but I've got a lot of energy that I need for other things in my life, like for professional things, for sport, mainly for sport, because it requires lots of energy. And when I come from my evening run, tired and exhausted, I just don't have any energy to play the guitar. I always liked motorcycles, and I'm a bike girl. Uh, and I don't think that it's a problem actually, because there are thousands of biker girls in Sweden. There are girl biker clubs and everything. So I don't think that it's a gender thing, actually. There are lots of interests that don't have any gender at all. There are also boys who like makeup, and I do see them in the clubs or something. I don't think that the hobbies do have any gender, and it doesn't work for job either. There are no jobs for men, there are no jobs for women. It's equal for everyone.
I guess it also comes to self acceptance. I'll share my experience. I had this phase, especially during first months, when I completely denied my male part. I did everything that is opposite to my previous life. And also, it included my hobbies. Only now, when I fully accepted myself, I came back to woodworking, to some male technical stuff. Do you agree that it's about self acceptance?
It's about personality, because your personality stays the same within the transition, and the transition is a product of your personality. So everything that is supported by your personality, like your interests, your hobbies, it's like transitioning is a kind of personal growth. You can look at a little bit wider when you're transitioning. It's like immigration. You can get some interests in another country that you never thought that they even existed in your homeland, for example. It's the same thing with the transitioning. You are growing as a person. You can change your interests. You can preserve your older interests. It's a kind of personal growth, and as said, it's not about gender at all.
Yeah, and also we know that situation for trans community gets worse nowadays, especially after Trump's inauguration. I guess there is no need to discuss this topic, but the one thing that I want to ask you about our hope. Usually, in the end of all interviews, I ask, is there any hope for our community?
The community won't disappear because all this aggression and all these attempts to do something, we have always existed and we will always exist. Nothing is going to happen with it. At this point, I can say that the hope is. The point is that we are going to meet more or less hardships because the problem in Russia and in the USA with the transgender community, they're actually the same, and Trump is just copying that Putin has already done in Russia, the ban of juridical gender change, gender marker change, and so on. It's just a political thing, and we are going to exist anyway, whatever happens. We are going to find, to meet, and we already have met problems. Yes. Only time will tell.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much
Mhm.
for your visibility, for your openness, for being straightforward, for using right terminology, for calling things their proper names. I think
Mhm.
voices as yours should be more visible and should be more heard in our community. I guess it's the only right way for us to move. Thank you so
Mhm.
much.
Thank you.
See you.
See ya.